Never underestimate your opponents, even if their rating is much lower than yours. Hi everyone, my name is Alexandra Samaganova. I'm a woman FIDE master, 5-time women's chess champion of Kyrgyzstan and a certified FIDE instructor. And in this video, I'm going to show you my game from my ongoing speedrun, where my opponent actually had a real chance to take the initiative. I play this game with black pieces. My opponent's rating is 616. He started with e4, c5, bishop to c4, e6, b5, bishop goes to b3, bishop goes to b7, knight to g5. Remember, we don't make multiple moves with the same piece in the opening. We first need to develop as many minor pieces as possible and castle, and only then we can make some extra moves with our pieces. But to play knight g5 was not a very good idea here. Bishop e7, attacking this knight immediately. h4, wow, okay. I was a little bit surprised that my opponent knows ideas like this. It was probably possible to play h6 immediately to understand what white is going to do with that knight, but I decided to continue with developing my pieces. Knight goes to c6, queen f3. Attacking f7 immediately and threatening to give checkmate. Knight e5, attacking the queen, protecting f7. Queen goes to f4. I play bishop f6. As far as I remember, when I played this game, I didn't really like the way I play. I didn't really like the fact that I put my bishop on f6, because usually we need to put our knights on f6, c6, f3, c3 squares. Bishop goes to e3. Here I decided to play c4 move. Well, probably right now, instead of making this move, I would play something like knight to e7. I play c4. My pawn on c5 was hanging. So pawn takes, bishop goes to a4. Now I continue developing pieces. Knight e7, knight c3. So my opponent, in general, my opponent plays well, developing pieces. Well, the only probably detail is that his king is still in the center of the board, but my king is also still on e8. But when you play knight to g5 and when you play h4, you don't actually want to make a short castle, because this is like these moves, these are signs that you want to attack on the king side. I play knight 7 to g6, attacking the queen. Queen goes to g3, and I play h6. I thought that, okay, high time to, to understand what white is going to do with that knight. I was sure that white would move back to h3 or to f3. But what my opponent is doing at this moment, he makes a long castle. And even though computer doesn't really like white's position right now, and white computer is saying that white is -2, but I felt a little bit unsafe at this moment, and I understood that I underestimated my opponent, I think. Long castle. So what do we have right now? Yeah, knight is hanging, but you need to be careful when you play with, like in this game, when you play with black pieces, you need to be careful when you decide to take this knight, because by taking the knight, like for example here, white takes here, now your rook is under some pressure, so you probably need to take, then rook takes, and maybe in general it's not that bad. But you actually don't want to give some activity to allow your opponent to have some activity on the h file. And even though my knight is currently protecting that h8 square, I didn't want to play this position. I didn't want my opponent to have to give him some extra, chance. So I didn't play this. But if you don't take the knight, you have some pressure on the d file right now, because as we can see, there is rook on the d file right now, there is this bishop attacking d7 pawn, and the good thing is that I still have at least my knight protecting d7, otherwise it's not quite pleasant. So I play queen to a5, and this is a moment when, fortunately for me, unfortunately for white, white makes a mistake. White plays b4, and this was the beginning of the end for white, I think. Instead, there was a much stronger move. There was a winning actually move. You can stop, pause this video and try to find this move yourself. The move is not very easy. It's quite beautiful. So the best move in this position is bishop takes d7. What is the idea about this move? After bishop takes d7, well, obviously king cannot take on d7 because rook is protecting the bishop, but knight can takes. Okay, knight takes d7, and now there is second sacrifice. Knight takes f7. Knight takes f7, and what do we have right now? Our rook is hanging, knight is hanging, knight d6 is a threat, our knight on d7 is under some pressure, and if I take on f7, rook takes d7, giving check, attacking my bishop. If, for example, I go somewhere here, because I definitely cannot go like king to f8, it's just, I'm just losing immediately. I don't think that there is protection like bishop e7 maybe, but it's still super bad. I can play knight to e7, protecting from check, but then rook takes b7, and white is so much better right now because white sacrificed two minor pieces, but managed to win them back. My king is in the center of the board, white king is safe. I probably have some pressure on this knight on c3, but this is not such a big problem for white at this point. Computer is giving +4 to white in this position. Luckily for me, white didn't play this move. It's not an easy move to find, but white played, as I mentioned earlier, white made a mistake at this point and played b4. This is a moment to remember a kind of a chess rule, chess principle. Don't push pawns from your king, because by pushing pawns, by moving pawns from your king, you create weaknesses, you make your king weak. And that was quite a big mistake for white, because at this point, even if white doesn't play this brilliant bishop d7 move, white has a very good position. There is one more super strong move, and this move is knight takes e6 actually, because d takes e6 is now just not possible because this pawn is pinned, and if f takes e6, then white has f4 move, attacking this knight, and if this knight moves, then knight on g6 will be hanging. This is all a little bit difficult, but even if white doesn't play these brilliant moves, white's position is still super good. But after b4, yes, now it's different. C takes b3, taking en passant. Well, maybe my opponent didn't remember this en passant rule, but I doubt. Pawn takes, and just now knight on c3 is hanging. So queen takes c3. Here, well, white decided to sacrifice his rook on d7. By the way, maybe my opponent has some ideas connecting with this d7 pawn, but unfortunately he played this move at the wrong moment. So rook takes d7, knight takes d7, bishop didn't take on d7, rook d1 first. It may look a little bit dangerous, but the thing is that my queen is super active right now and white king is not safe. So I give check on b2 first, king goes to d2, bishop c3 check, king goes here, queen takes. Now king cannot move to f3, cannot move to f1 because rook will be just hanging. Rook d2, maybe it was better to play bishop to d2, but still it doesn't help that much. So rook d2, bishop takes, and I'm absolutely fine right now. And I finally castled. So I probably, at this moment, you know, I could relax finally. So I castled. I sacrificed this knight on d7, but I'm taking the knight on g5, queen takes, taking on e4, bishop e3, taking one more pawn, exchanging queens, and well, apparently there is nothing for white right now because I'm 2 rooks up. So we continued. We still played quite a lot of moves, but let's just see the game till the very end very quickly. A couple of mistakes. And checkmate. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you find it interesting and useful. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel in order not to miss my future videos. Thank you for watching and see you. Bye bye.